Officially, he is G. Michael Dobbs, the managing editor for Reminder Publications, but everybody calls him Mike. He's been a writer, reporter, commentator, radio talk show host, and editor in the area since the 1970s. Recently, Mike Dobbs released his second book, 15 Minutes With, 40 Years of Interviews. Mike sat down with us to talk about the book and the fascinating people you get to meet and talk to when you have a job like his.
People have said to me over the years, geez, you've talked to a lot of interesting folks. You ought to put this together in a book. And I'm working on a very big project, and sometimes when you're working on a big project, you want to take a break and do a quote-unquote little project or a quicker project. So this was the little quick project. And it was fabulous to go back. I've got a lot of these still on the original cassette tapes. You may have to explain to the kids watching what a cassette tape is. And then there were some that I couldn't find, which sort of blew me away. What did I do with them? And some that I had forgotten that I had done that I wish I had put in the book.
Well, it means another book, that's all.
Well, I'm not quite sure if there's another whole book in there, but we'll see how many more that I can do in the next 15, 20 years, and we'll see about that in a while.
I got to ask you, Aaron mentioned the title. I love 15 Minutes With. It's so apt because so often that's what we hear. 15 minutes is what the publicist, the handler tells you can have with this particular celebrity, sports star, whoever it might be. Now, that's pretty good for TV or radio. 15 minutes, not so great for a print interview, it seems to me, because you want a lot more depth for the inches you want to fill.
You would love to get more depth, but I think that most folks on the publicist side view interview 10, 15 minutes, especially if it's a person who is sitting in a room with a phone doing it over and over and over. Alice Cooper is in the book, and that's an example. He was coming to Springfield. He was going to be coming to the Paramount, and his publicist said, "You have 10 minutes," and that was it. So they called me up. Mike, here's Alice. He was prepared. He was great, on point. Minute it hit, 10 minutes. Goodbye. The publicist comes back on. It's been great. Click. Because he was doing all of his interviews for this tour that day. And
somebody in San Francisco or wherever was waiting.
Exactly. So I think from a publicist's point of view, they think 10 to 15 minutes is enough to get the sales point across. And as you know, this is a bargain. The reporter would like to get certain things said and mentioned and included in his or her story, but the interview subject is interested in getting a point of view across or something they've done to promote that. There's always that give and take of what the interview is really about.
Let's talk about that, the things you want to get or people expect you to get included. 2004, Leonard Nimoy.
Right.
The man who lived the rest of his life as Mr. Spock of Star Trek, the TV series, the movies. You took some heat from readers. You consciously said, I'm not going to ask him about being Spock.
Well, there's a salesman at work who, the moment he heard I was talking to the late Leonard Nimoy, he says, what are you going to ask him about Star Trek? I said, nothing. What do you mean? I said, he's heard every question that could possibly be about Star Trek. The guy is now concentrating on something he's loved his whole life, which is photography. And he's got this great connection to Western Massachusetts because the studio up in Northampton was his home base, the gallery, I should say. And I could not bring myself to ask him. I mean, I think that if I had been pushed enough, if I really felt comfortable with him in the few minutes I had with him, I would probably have asked him something about what it has really been like to have the yoke of this one character placed on your shoulders as a performer. But we had a nice time talking about photography. So, sorry. No, Mr. Spock.
Got to ask you to talk about a PBS favorite and mainstay, Ken Burns. Now, I've had the opportunity to interview him, have him in on the program a number of times, and every time before he was going to come in, somebody in the day or two before would always duck their head in my office and say something like, I hear he's real difficult. He's hard to work with. Just be prepared for anything. The first time I was going to interview him, he had been sick. I knew the day before. Still came down, drove down from New Hampshire. My experience, 3 or 4 times, one of the nicest, most
Yes.
wonderful people.
Yes.
From reading your piece, you
Yes.
found that too.
Yeah, I think it's been 3 times I've had the opportunity of talking to him, and each time he was fine. And in fact, I said to him once, I was having, my wife and I were up in Brattleboro, Vermont, having dinner at a Chinese restaurant with friends, and I looked over, and there was Ken Burns at another table. And I said to him, I would never go over and interrupt you, never. He says, you should have. I would have loved to have met you then. I think the guy is very genuine, besides being an absolutely immense talent in the documentary film business, because he has changed that whole genre of film. But very nice guy.
Let me ask you about a guy that I was fascinated to read the piece in your book, Ray Bradbury, the great science fiction writer. You had quite an experience dealing with him.
Well, yeah. The city of Springfield a few years ago was having one city, one book. They had chosen Fahrenheit 451. And I asked the library folks when I did a story about it, have you going to get Bradbury here? You got to get Bradbury here. Yeah. Well, no. I thought, all right. So his publisher was Doubleday. I called the publisher. I said, do you have a publicist assigned to Ray Bradbury? They said, yes. Called this guy. This guy got on the line. He was really friendly. He says, Ray would love to talk to you. Here's his phone number. Call him at noon Eastern time. I said, well, are you going to call him and do the setup? Tell him who I am? No, just call him. So here I am cold calling Ray Bradbury. And he picks up the phone, and I recognize his voice, and it was wonderful. I mean, it was a great experience. And I realized I could probably have talked to him for an hour. And I didn't want to abuse that, In hindsight, I think I should have abused it and talked to him, because great man of American letters.
You always wonder what you left on the table.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Anybody you can think of off the top of your head that when you got finished with the interview, you said, wow, why did I bother with that? That just didn't take me any place. That didn't do anything for me.
There was one comedian who I interviewed.
And they're tough interviews a lot of times, because
Well,
they just joke.
One of them said something really good to me, and I can't remember which one it was. He said that when I'm doing radio, what radio wants are jokes. The guys who are the hosts wants the jokes. But when I'm doing print, I can just be myself, because jokes don't really work well in print per se. There was one comedian, Tommy Davidson, very nice guy, but he would say yes and no. He had like
Deadly.
and he wasn't. He was really a sweet guy, very affable, but he didn't really have much to say. And I was clawing my hair out, trying to figure out, what am I going to write about? This is going to be like a 500-word piece or something.
Final question. Who'd be the ultimate get? Who just love to be able to sit down with for that 15 minutes?
Oh, gee. Well, there's the fanboy side of me, and then there's the professional side. The professional side is, I think, you and I and everyone else in this business would love 15 minutes with the President of the United States. The fanboy side of me, if I could sit down with, someone like Kevin Smith, film director, Roger Corman, people like that, people whose work I really admire, people who are a little bit on the outlaw side of the film business that I love so much, that's who I would really be interested in speaking with.
Well, Mike Dobbs' book's a lot of fun. 15 minutes with 40 years of interviews. Thanks for giving us 15 minutes.
Thank you.